result you wanted, but how do you assess the performance and how did they play out?
Often happens in this game, but we got what we deserved. Thought they outworked us from the very start of the game, and some of our numbers around half time. I think we gave up 35 marks in the second quarter, and we just weren't able to slow them down and get the game on our terms at all in that second quarter in particular, but really the majority of the first half, and they made the most of their chances going forward and took the game away from us pretty quickly, really.
Work rate issue, conditions, just round one rustiness?
I hope it was round one rustiness, but it was nothing to do with the conditions. Conditions were perfect for footy. It was a nice fast deck. I know it looked a bit scratchy on TV, but the grass was completely fine. We have no excuses to put in that sort of work rate. So we're in a position where we thought everyone comes into this time of year unsure, and we thought we were much better prepared and we'd be much more equipped to handle what they produced than we were. So we didn't play our best footy on our own front, but then we didn't produce our best footy defensively, and really disappointed with how easy they got their goals and compared to how hard we had to work for ours.
You mentioned the Giants getting the ball kind of forward a lot, when getting a lot of scoring opportunities in that first half. Were you surprised at all at how quickly the Giants were just kind of seeming to put it on foot and try and get it into that forward line, or was that something you were expecting?
No, I mean we scouted. They played quickly. They're a really good running profile side. So are we, but they certainly outworked us. Their potency in the front half of the ground. It came from ground ball gets with minus 19 for the game. So ball hits the ground and they get to it first 19 extra times than you over a course of a game. That's pretty significant. And that just tells you they're working over to the contest better than we were. As basic as it sounds, most of us have heard it since we were in under 10s. Get numbers to the contest, and they were really good at that, and we were disappointing. So if you play against a side like the Giants and you don't get enough numbers to contest, then they're going to take the game away from you, and it's exactly what happened.
Obviously, Clayton Oliver's first game for the club, I think, ended with 19 contested and 9 clearances for the Giants. What was the key thing that you tried to do to kind of stop his influence? Because he's definitely seemed to kind of work into the game as well.
Yeah, I think Finn Callaghan had 750 metres gained, and Whitfield probably would have had high 20s as well. So we didn't think it was. I think best players are probably reasonably difficult to do in that game. I think they had a lot of really good performers. Clayton was obviously going to get some headlines because it's his first game for the club, and he's been a very good player for a very long time. So we're hardly surprised by that. But realistically, we lost the midfield battle tonight. Centre bounces. It might have only been minus 5, but that was all early, and inside 50s. I think they won 18. They won 19 centre bounces. I went inside 18 times from them, so we just couldn't get enough pressure on them. We couldn't force them into areas they didn't want to go, and we didn't make the game hard enough for the Giants.
I know you'd love to have two Nick Watsons, but how's the balance in terms of midfield time, forward line? Because clearly he's going to have an impact on both. How do you kind of battle with that decision and balance through the year?
Yeah, I mean it's a good challenge. I mean, offensively he's obviously fantastic. Defensively he had some really good moments tonight, but he's still going to be a work in progress on his consistency around the middle of the ground in particular. So I think goal kickers are harder to find than midfielders, so he'll still spend the majority of his time as a forward.
You've got Finn McGuinness in the team. Did you consider utilising a hard tag, or just too many holes plugging that down?
We did it for a small period, and there was just a few too many things. So, when we couldn't take uncontested marks away from them, when 35 uncontested marks in a quarter makes it really difficult. I think they kicked 9 goals as well. So, we've seen across the early games in the season, momentum is significant, and I thought we made real gains last year in developing our momentum strategies, and tonight we just couldn't restrict them. And we'll learn our lessons and we'll lick our wounds and we'll get back to it in 6 days' time.
Came out of the Fed in that third term. What, I guess, are the positives you can... I know they held you off in the end, but what are the positives, I guess, you can take out of this when you're talking about licking your wounds, learning your lessons before facing violence?
I'm probably not quite ready for the positives just yet. We did score reasonably well from front half turnovers. That's an area we've trying to improve in our game. You know, we were mid-table at best in a couple of areas last year that we've done some work on, and across this game we produced some better performances in that area. But give me a couple of days before the midweek, I might have some positives for you. But right now, like every Hawthorn fan out there, we're enormously disappointed in our start to the season.
Midfield that you talk about in terms of the lessons, what can you do ahead of facing against? I know work rate's the big thing you've talked about, but it's going to be high profile with Zach Merritt, Durham, etc.
Yeah, I mean, I think I found a positive. I just found one for you. So I think it was within our control. I think when we look at that game, it feels like our performance was within our control, and there's some things we can rectify in 6 days' time to make sure that we're well prepared and we're going to perform better than we did tonight. So there's a positive. There's a positive for you. I think midfield-wise, we had some players who didn't play their best tonight, and we got some work to do around the middle of the ground. But we gave up 9 goals in a quarter. So defensively, I think we had some work to do as well. So it is a long season. It's a really long season, and today was not a great start, to say the least. So we've got work to do, but I don't feel like where I thought we were positioned 4 hours ago is much different to now. The Giants are a really good side. We weren't good enough for them tonight, but we didn't think we'd win every game this season, and we'll be back next week.
You mentioned the defensive work of the Giants. I think ended with 63 inside 50s. Not many in that last quarter, but what's the key when they're getting the ball in a bit relentlessly to try and get it out the other way a little bit quicker and make sure it stays out?
Yeah, we struggled to control the momentum of the game. We couldn't lock it in our front half enough early, and then later, as the game progressed, they probably, and rightly so, took their foot off the gas a bit as the game progressed. But we were able to keep it in our front half much more often in the second half, and we still felt like we gave ourselves some chances to get right back into the game. We just didn't quite capitalise. So we've got work to do, but I'm not demoralised by any stretch. We'll be back.
No injuries today?
No, don't think so. Thanks, guys.